So I came across this random little video at one point, and finally I'm getting around to making my response to it along with playing it for everyone else to see. So here we go.
We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
This thing's still going on. Oh, this is funny because I could tell just by Rhonda's smirk there that she's just gonna give it to her, because Rhonda, just like myself, knows that the person asking this question is assuming that just because Rhonda is a female that she's going to use her star power, and just for the fact that she is a female, a born vagina female, that this instantly makes Rhonda on the side, the same side as the reporter, that she'll align herself with this agenda that's being obviously put out there as it pertains to the pay inequality. And boy does it backfire, and I love this because Rhonda perfectly sums it up. Here we go.
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter, not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice to the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
And there you go. I mean, literally, it does not get any more perfect than that. Like, that was perfectly stated. Like, in other words, she wouldn't care if she got paid less than, say, me. If I was bringing in more people, if I was bringing in more revenue, getting more merch sold, having some better quality fights that got more highlights and talked about on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and shit like that, she would be like, yeah, that's right, you deserve to get paid more than me. Because you're doing better than me. You're bringing in more people than me. You're bringing in more money than me. You have higher quality than me. And she's 100% okay, whether it be the women getting paid more or the men getting paid more. At the end of the day, it comes down to quality and numbers and money. And she understands that. It comes down to what you yourself do, or in this case, the team does. So if the team was bringing in more money, more merch sales, more people, more highlights, more podcasts, whatever, then they would rightfully be getting paid more. It's kind of like this product here, right? If this was getting sold off the shelves every time it got restocked, then rightfully so, you would think that whoever makes that would be getting paid more, or could leverage that their product is such high quality that they can demand more money. And then a lower quality product that sits on the shelf for weeks before even one gets sold would obviously be of a lower price because it's not in such high demand. So it's literally that, just in human form. You know, if you're performing better, you sell better, you do better, then you get paid better. You know what I'm saying here? So Rhonda perfectly summed that up in every way possible. But let's go on to round 2 of this.
The final, the girls will get $5,500 each. The blokes will get $69,000 each. Oh! How can anyone justify this, huh?
How can anyone justify this? They're going over the same talking points as before, with basically the same statistics, which will lead to the same answer that Ronda Rousey literally just gave. I mean, I don't really have much more to add. I mean, Australia, just like America, has a huge feminazi problem, where the feminist extremism and their agenda is like overboard, overkill, and just brainwash people to the point where they're just fucking crazy. So it doesn't surprise me that on Australian TV this would be a thing, but let's see what the reasonable, logical, rational male has to say.
They can't.
No.
I mean, the gender, I beg your pardon?
I can justify it.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you what, stars don't get paid more money because, a sport doesn't become interesting because the stars are paid more money. Stars get paid more money because the sport is interesting. Let me ask you this. How many of you guys on the panel know who our Australian Matildas are playing in the quarterfinals? No, because you don't care about it. Now, if you cared about
I'll do it if they win.
No,
They
but
beat
that's
us.
the thing.
They beat
Do you know what? All of you can go and watch W League games in the women's competition here, but you don't. Now, when you start to go and watch these women play the wonderful football they do, then they'll earn more money.
But I don't go to watch the men play football either.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of people do. The Men's World Cup is one of the biggest money spinners on the planet. Women's football, even though at grassroots level it's working really, really well, it's got a long way to go. The other thing, let me ask you this about sports equality. The top 10 fastest men of all time in terms of sprinters are all black, of African origin. Are you telling me that the white guys should say, hold on, we should be paid just as much as the black guys for sprinting? No, because they're not as fast.
No, whoever wins gets the most.
Yeah, well, that's it. Do you know what? There is not one team in the Women's World Cup that could beat a junior male side in the A-League.
So what?
So they're not as good.
Well, they're playing women.
What?
But why? But to me, it comes down to simply a matter of inequity. It's.
I mean, he really summed it up there real well. Whoever gets paid more is the ones who are winning, who are outperforming, who are doing the best, who are bringing in the most numbers, the most people, the most talked about. You know, and he put them in a logical corner when he said, you know, about the African Americans. Should they be told, oh, hold on, you gotta wait for me to catch up, or hey, I should be paid as much as you guys because racism. You guys are racist because you're paying the African Americans the most, even though they're doing the best and performing the best. Like, that's such a perfectly logical, rational statement to make that blocked them. It literally locked them into this corner, and now they're trying to reach for straws for anything that they can. Oh, this is just funny watching feminists with their like half-brained, subpar type bullshit. You know, it's just like they're so desperate, and it shows. This is why feminism is such a joke.
Women are not paid the same amount of money as blokes in so many professions, and I think we need to pay women more in sport, in all sorts of different jobs.
Well, regardless of whether the product's as good.
But they are top of their game, so why aren't they paid
Because
the top dollar for being top of their game?
They're not top of the mind.
Let's talk about tennis. Okay, tennis, the pay discrepancy in world.
They just aren't getting it, so he needs to use another sport reference. This time he's going to be using tennis, but they're just not understanding because all they have is this feministic agenda of getting paid the same, even if it's a lower quality, what have you. And they simply cannot comprehend that women simply don't bring in as many people to the stadiums. There aren't as many butts in seats. There aren't as many people watching on their TVs. There aren't as many people talking on podcasts about women-specific sports. So naturally, because there won't be as much money coming in, there won't be as much money to give out to the performers. And they simply don't get this because they're retarded feminists. But let's continue.
tennis is not as great as other sports. So at Wimbledon,
Until
there's
but only recently.
yeah, that's right. But the reason being is because the product that the female tennis players are offering is good. Because in male tennis, it's serve, volley, ace, double fault. Whereas women's tennis is more about rallies. It's better to watch, and that's why it's paid more.
And there you go. It's basically, this guy is basically saying what Ronda Rousey said, but in a more, I guess you could say, long-winded way of putting it, down to a level to where most people will understand it, because Ronda Rousey was talking from her professional standpoint and coming from her perspective of things, which is understandable. I get that, but he's coming from a place where he isn't an elite sports person coming from the elite sport person's perspective. So it was easier for most people to digest, unless you're a retarded feminist. And so for anyone that was watching that, it's quite clear that the pay gap thing is not really so much a pay gap as it is a quality gap. You want more money? Put more butts in seats. Get more podcast talkers talking about you. Get more people watching you on the TV and the streaming services, and you'll get more money. Simple as that. It's not a pay gap. It's a performance gap. It's a quality gap. It's a bringing in money gap. If you only bring in $500 and there's only 4 of you, then you're only going to get $100 each. That's $400 out of the $500. And so the institution would be making only $100 as profit. And then someone of the same sports league, 4 male individuals, and they bring in $5,000 to the event. They'll get paid $1,000 each. That's $4,000 out of the $5,000. So that means a profit of $1,000 instead of $100. So naturally they're going to get paid more. It's simple math. It's simple logic. Anyone who isn't retarded or an idiotic feminist in general should understand this. Thank you. Come again. Until next time.